Hello and welcome to another episode of AWS She Builds Tech Skills. My name is Tamara Gagliardi. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect and one of your hosts for today's session. We also have Esther Kang as a moderator. She'll be behind the scene answering your questions. Make sure to leverage the chat to interact with us. And in today's episode, we'll be covering a lot about data, how to make that data actionable, what services on AWS you can leverage to do that. And for that, we have an expert in QuickSight. Amazon QuickSight was recently announced. And welcome to the episode, Madison. If you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little more about who you are, what your role at AWS is, and how did you land that role?
Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm Madison. Thank you so much, first off, for having me on this episode. I'm so happy to be here. And I am a program manager for Amazon QuickSight. So as Tamara mentioned, Amazon QuickSight was just announced, and we transitioned from originally being Amazon QuickSight, which we'll talk a little bit later about. But that's how I started my career here at AWS. So I came fresh out of college as an intern during my junior year inside the Amazon QuickSight team. And I work closely with customer enablement and our product team to help with different programs that we run to help enable your customers. And so then we transitioned to Amazon QuickSight, where I still help with enablement, but now we work with all the agentic features inside Amazon QuickSight. And a little bit about my journey within my career so far is I did graduate college just 2 years ago. And for those of you who maybe are dealing with the same journey or trying to pivot a career, maybe this story can be helpful for you. But I actually graduated college with a degree not related to technology and not in computer science or technical skills at all. So I graduated with a degree in economics and minors in public policy making and film, TV, and digital media. So quite different from a technology industry. But what I was really interested in was how people use innovations in tech to create more connections with both each other and how to just help each other's workflows. And I thought that was a really interesting way to tell stories through tech. So I kind of used my film minor, which is how I got to where I am today, which is help enabling customers by creating demos and data storytelling videos of how they can use agentic AI and data analytics into relatable stories. So I really dove deep into how all the technology works and understanding what that can be like for other people's use cases, and then produce things for enablement materials so that it can help others in their day-to-day. So that's just kind of a way where you can use a humanity-focused major into a technical application, which I feel like maybe needs representation in our industry today. And I think that's just one way that you can enter tech if you're coming from a non-technical background. So I just thought I would share that.
Very inspiring, Madison. And Madison is behind the scene on a lot of the content that we'll be sharing as a close also on how you can continue to learn QuickSight. And as she mentioned, this was announced just a few weeks ago. It's a new version where we bring in, as Madison was mentioning, Agentic, also AI-powered, generative AI-powered solutions. We'll be jumping into a demo, not yet, but very shortly, on how you can leverage QuickSight, how you can leverage those agents. So if you're looking to get more insights from your data, we'll be sharing how to do that. But I thought before we jumped into the core of today's demo and solution, maybe starting with a primer of what business intelligence is and how we see customers leverage business intelligence for those that maybe are new. Madison, from your perspective, what is BI, what's business intelligence, and why it's important?
Yeah, so this is a really great starter question because coming from someone who just entered tech, I didn't know what business intelligence was either before working here. And so I've learned so much about it, both breadth and depth of what that actually means for customers. And so what I like to think about it is business intelligence is how you take raw information and how technology and processes and the toolings that we offer help you to take that raw data into something that means more to your company. So whether that comes from a storytelling aspect, or if that comes through visualizations, through dashboards, which we traditionally had with Amazon QuickSight, or how they can come through in executive summaries or writings that you produce with that data, it's helping you to take what you have in raw files and turning them into insights that creates meanings for your company. So that's what I like to say about business intelligence. And this is across several use cases. So this goes across industries. Every company will have business intelligence because every company has data, and this can come from multiple sources. So if your data is in Excel sheets or different documentation, this can also come from SQL queries, and then how you can combine that with different parts of your company. So if you have sales data, or if you have customer service data, or if you have financial data, that all tells the overarching story of business intelligence for your own use case.
I agree. And I'm also curious from the audience if you can share. We like to interact with the audience, hear your stories. We'll pop out some of those questions and some of your experiences as well. So if you have any experience with business intelligence, let us know what tools you used, what you were trying to derive from your data. And like Madison was sharing, I work closely also with a lot of AWS customers. All of them have data. Just to maybe tell a story behind that, working with a customer in supply chain, having all the data of the different products that they might have, to do the supply chain, to do making sure that the products arrive to the different locations when needed. If you don't have business intelligence and be able to derive where maybe an item is low of stock, or how long it's going to take for that item to arrive there for that consumer to be able to consume it, without business intelligence, is very hard. You might be guesstimating when the different products might need to be there. The same with sales. I see a lot of sales teams in the past might have used Excel sheets, as Madison was mentioning. But now with the tools that we're about to show you, with agents, with other capabilities of combining even more data and surfacing insights that help your customers and help you in the end, it's really powerful. So with that, I know that we talked, and Madison, you mentioned QuickSight as well. And there was an evolution from Amazon QuickSight. So curious to also hear from the audience if anybody has used QuickSight in the past. But there's an evolution from QuickSight to now QuickSuite. If you were a QuickSight user and now you log in into the console, you might have seen that change. So Madison, if you can share on your end, maybe that evolution, what that looks like, and what was your experience with it as well?
Yeah, definitely. So it's interesting because I was with the team during this whole transformation. So it was really awesome to see the journey that we've come to now. But let me just share. So when we were at Amazon QuickSight, that was our primary business intelligence advanced data analytics tool for our customers. So as I kind of mentioned before, this was used to create advanced visualizations, create calculations for you based on your raw data. And it was taking all of your spreadsheets and Excel sheets and CSVs and where that structured data was coming from, and putting it into a way that was beautifully telling the story of your company, like we just talked about in your several use cases. But one of the things that we were noticing with customers is not only do companies have structured data, but they also have tons of unstructured data. So that can come in the formats that I was saying a little bit earlier of Word documentation. It can be in different formats like video and audio recordings that are in from meetings that you're having, or even images or PowerPoints, things of that sort, where it's not necessarily rows and columns of data, but it can be harder to decipher when you're doing calculations in data analytics. So we were seeing all of our customers having that in several different applications, and they were having to have context switching between those to go in between what they were working on in maybe a Microsoft Teams or a Salesforce, and then their QuickSight dashboard. And it just loses a lot of efficiency and time when you're trying to go through all of those and finding your information that you need at that moment. It just wastes a lot of the energy that you could be doing and putting more use elsewhere. So what that means for Amazon QuickSuite is what we've done is created one place where you can go across applications with both your unstructured and structured data. So inside Amazon QuickSuite, you have the ability to combine all that data into one place and then connect and integrate with other third-party applications to be able to communicate that data with different agents that we have and what data is inside those apps. So for example, you'll see this a little bit in the demo. But if I had a bunch of data inside images, PowerPoints, documentation, and Word docs, maybe even emails and Outlook, I can combine that all into my Amazon QuickSuite account with the data that I've already had in Amazon QuickSight and be able to access that information with my custom chat agent, which is also powered by Amazon QuickSuite. So that's something we'll see later in the demo, but that's just one use case. And it's just very powerful if you think about it to help reduce your context switching and have all these AI agents talk to each other to help bring more insights and help you take action faster within your company's context.
Excellent. Thanks for walking us through that evolution. I know we had a question on chat whether this will be available later. Yes, it will be available for you to replay on the YouTube event, AWS events account. Maybe we can share that link through chat so that you have it available. But if you go on YouTube events for the AWS events account, you'll have it as a replay. With that too, I know that we keep on talking about the demo, and we'll jump into the demo now so that we can share how to go step by step if you want to follow along or if you want to watch as a replay as well. But maybe we'll jump into the console, Madison, and just show what QuickSuite looks like. I'm super excited about this.
Okay. Thank you, Tamara. So this is the homepage. If you don't already know what QuickSuite is, this is what it is. This is where you will access everything in your environment all in one place. And if you are already QuickSight customers, Tamara also mentioned this earlier, this will seamlessly integrate into the existing UI that you see on my screen. So this is great because what you have the ability to do on your homepage is have quick access to all of your AI agents, which are going to be up here. And these are going to be your teammates throughout your experience using the tool. You'll also have the traditional BI that we've talked about through QuickSight accessible right below it. So this is where you'll build those dashboards and take actions from your structured data. We also have our advanced automation agents through Quick Automate and our third-party application connections through this tab here. So I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of the homepage just so you understand maybe what this looks like and what you can do here. But I'm going to close that pane, and now you're seeing this main screen. So up here, for those of you who want to explore or maybe get inspiration of where you can start creating your AI agents, we have some of these widgets. So this first one here we can see is our quick research agent. And what you can see here is we've given a few suggestions of where you could get started. So this one says, let's say you want to do a research and you want to identify emerging technologies and business models that could transform your industry landscape. That sounds maybe of interest to many of you on this phone call. So that's just one of the examples, but if you want to see all of them, you have access to all of them here. Our team has provided suggestions for all the AI agents that you could maybe just get your hands into and see what the art of the possible is.
And Madison, I know that we're jumping right into agents. This is the core of what we'll be covering today within QuickSuite, how you leverage agents. There's a lot of other announcements that were done within QuickSuite that just because of time, we won't be able to dive deeper into. But for those that are new to agents or agents within business intelligence, how would you describe what an agent is and why is it so powerful?
Yeah, so an AI agent inside this Amazon QuickSuite application is really what we like to think of as a teammate for you to help empower your own work capabilities. So what it's doing inside your environment is using your data from your unstructured and structured data files to help give context to any of the different workflows that you have on your day-to-day. And this is just as a reminder, We do not use your data in outside applications. Your data will never train our own models and won't be sent elsewhere. So it's all in the context of your QuickSight environment and is kept private to your own application and dependent on who you provision access to on different types of your data. So these AI agents will help give context to any different workflows that you have and help you take actions solely based on your data and our models that we've been trained on.
Yeah, I
So
see
this is
them
really
as
just a teammate, if you want to
yeah,
think
I
about
was
it
gonna
that
say, I
way.
see them as like specialized teammates that they are really, really good at a number of tasks. I know off screen we were trying to find a more creative way of explaining it, and we were talking how back in the day we had to read lots of books for school. And maybe this is gonna age me a little bit, but I used to go to Spark Notes. Somebody else would read the book, and then I would look at the summary that that person did. Now we have agents that go and do summaries, that go and like spend the time going and understanding a lot of the context. And that's a more playful way, I guess, I try to explain what an agent is. You also talked about structured and unstructured data. Most of us are familiar with structured data, such as earlier we talked about those CSV files. I worked with a lot of customers that maybe their teams have lots of CSV files that they load into now Amazon QuickSight. But what are examples of unstructured data?
Right. So I touched on it a little bit earlier, but unstructured data can come in formats that aren't typically in like a spreadsheet type file or SQL queries, but it can come in formats of images, videos, MP4s, GIFs, even. It can come in audio formats, so just a voiceover, something like that, or even Word documentation, so like essays, anything that you have that's reference points from your documentation in your own company's wiki pages. So it really varies anything from outside of your traditional like row and column data that you might be using traditionally for data analysis.
Excellent. And curious from the audience as well, if you're building an agent, if you already built an agent, if you want to enter it in the comments, and maybe we can share that to inspire others as well on what type of agents you're working on. With that being said, we're jumping into the core of it, which is agents. You started walking us through what that looks like. Maybe we can dive deeper into one of them specifically or a couple of them.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so before I jump in, I want to give context of exactly what the company we're going to be looking at is doing. So then you just get a better idea. Maybe you can see yourself using this own use case, or maybe you can think about how you would apply this to your own company. So the company that we are looking at today is a fictitious company. It's called Any Retail Snacks. So this company is a healthy retail snack company, and I'll go into their dashboard here so you can see more about them while I explain. But they sell 5 healthy snack products. So the products that they sell are going to be Green Crunch, they're going to be Veggie Pops, it's going to be Berry Bites, and it's going to be Real Fuel Bars, which is like their protein option, and then it's going to be Grainfuls. So these are their 5 healthy snack products that they sell globally through their retail store. And as you can see here, our dashboard is loading up. But as I was saying, there's 5 products, so you can see them here. And they sell this to global countries across the 3 regions of Asia, APAC, which is what we call it, EMEA, so that's Europe, Middle East, and then Africa, and then the AMER region. So if you think about it, Canada, United States, Mexico, and Latin America. So these are where we sell, and then this is the dashboard explaining all the information we have on this company. So you can see here, we have sales, profit, and then we have different information about the product ratings. So we can have that split up here by region. And then we also even have data that spans campaigns. So how did each of our marketing campaigns perform, and what did that look like in the transformation of what products people bought?
And this
So
is super insightful. Like even I've seen customers that are looking to understand, for example, where can we launch a new product, or where
mhm.
is an area where we might not need to open up new stores because there is an influx on the number of products that we're selling. So those are some of the questions, depending on the end user, that you might be able to answer with these questions. I know this is a fictitious company, like you mentioned, Madison, but those are some of the personas that might be consuming that as well.
Right, exactly. And that's the intention that we brought when thinking of this example is you could use this inside of a marketing use case. You could use this in a sales use case. You could use this in a manufacturing use case because it is a healthy snack company. Or you could even use this as a customer or a customer service use case as well. If you think about it, when you're an online retailer, you get a ton of emails and information coming through on maybe issues with orders or how you can improve the product quality. So this is kind of the intention that we had with this company. And what I want to show here now is what you can do within AI agents. So if you see here at the top right, you have this fun little chat icon. And if I click on that, it's going to bring me to your default agent, and everyone has access to this inside their QuickSight environment. This assistant, which you can see here, is going to be available throughout your experience. So if I have any questions on my data or I want to find any insights on my documentation, I can ask my AI assistant here. But I'm going to show you here how you can create your own custom chat agent instead. So like we just saw, that was your default agent. That's going to be centrally accessible throughout your experience within your Amazon QuickSight environment. But you also have the ability to create your own custom chat agent. And that is going to be for the context of curating a very specific use case that maybe you have or your team has that you just want to use in your day-to-day. So for example, the one that I'm going to show you is for a sales team. And this sales team works in any retail snacks within their specialized context of meeting recordings that they've had with partners of grocery stores, their first call deck that they have when they have their introduction meetings with them. It also includes their documentation on what to do for brand messaging and positioning, some nutritional facts on each of their products if they need that on hand when they're having a meeting. And it also has information from their structured data of customer service requests, as well as different messaging having to do with their sales quotas. So let's take a look at that. And now we're going to build our own custom chat agent. So I'm going to navigate to our Explore pane here, and I'm going to go ahead and click this plus sign. So let's go ahead and create a chat agent. And now we're popped up on this pane. So this is pretty cool. I just want to point out here that it says you can build agents with unique personas and capabilities. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. I can have the option to either type in my own prompt of what I want my agent to do, or I can even pick the suggestions that we've provided. So the three here that we have is we can create a training guide. We could create an agent to be a project coordinator. We could also create an agent to be an onboarding helper. So those are just some options, but I think it'll be a little bit fun to see how we can do our own agent. So let me pull up the prompt that I already have created here. So this is going to be agent that we want to be a friendly guide that helps the new sales team members navigate the any retail snack sales and business development space, which is an area of my business that I've created that has all of my unstructured and structured data inside of my QuickSight account. So that has everything that I just said to you all about the partner details and all that information relative to the sales department inside of my environment. And so I want to use that and provide key insights, documentation guidance, and support for creating communication materials. And just with that prompt, I'm going to go ahead and click generate. And then in the back end, Amazon QuickSight will create my own agent. And while that is loading, I am going to show you my already prepared one here. So this is the agent it's created. This is the configuration that QuickSight has done all on its own. I haven't fine-tuned any of this by myself, but this is what it's going to look like once your agent is done. And then this is the option that you have to edit any existing things that QuickSight has created. And you can test the agent here on this right pane. So
I do want to call out, I remember when I first, and I know agents are relatively new just in general, but when we first started, there was a lot of coding that was needed. And I just saw how you walk through just a few clicks and a prompt, and now you have the skeletons of an agent that you can customize, as you're going to walk us through, but just the power of being able to allow other users that maybe in the past weren't able to do so because maybe they didn't have deep expertise in coding and how all the different infrastructure that goes behind it works. So this is super powerful, Madison, how you just showed us in a couple of steps on how to get started on creating an agent that will empower, in this case, the sales team. Is that right?
Right. And that's exactly the point that we should be calling out at this point, because if you're going to see through this demo, there is no coding involved. Like I said, I came from a background with no technical experience. I did not code in college. And I can do everything in Amazon QuickSight that I want to achieve just with natural language and point and click actions. So that's extremely powerful because it enables so many business users and non-technical users to be able to use AI agents on their own, create them on their own, and put them into application almost instantaneously. So that's a great call out that you just made there. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and just walk through quickly what the agent it is created for me. Again, this was all done by Amazon QuickSight. I only put in the prompt that we put in earlier, which was here. And so the configurations of this agent that it included was its persona. So it gives it an identity. This is a friendly and knowledgeable sales navigator for any retail snacks company. It gives it specific instructions on how to apply different use cases and what it should do in different contexts. It also gives it a communication style. So I could also change any of these, but I'm not going to because we're going to see what this looks like as it's generated here. But the tone that it gave was friendly, encouraging, and supportive. So it uses a conversational style that makes new team members feel welcomed and confident. That's great. The response format is clear, actionable guidance with specific instructions, making sure it uses bullet points for lists and highlighting key suggestions or key insights. The length of its responses are going to be comprehensive, but remain concise and easy to follow. And then at this point, I can upload anything from my desktop that I want to add additional context to. I'm going to go ahead and skip that. And then I can see here that the knowledge source pulled directly from the space that I've mentioned before. So this is the space that I've created with specific information regarding my sales and business development department in this company. And it's gone ahead and added that for me, which is great.
And I know we didn't have a chance to jump into spaces yet. Just again, there's so much to cover just in agents, and we're just going to show you one or two, depending on the amount of time that we have today. But for just to provide more context, you mentioned the spaces. If I remember correctly from your description, it's an area where you can put all the content. You mentioned anything from PowerPoints, CSV files, maybe documentation about the product, any information that might be needed, recordings, video, audio, all of that can go into the spaces. And in this section, then the agent will be pulling from that. And I think you're pulling it up now just to give us a more visual representation of it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's exactly correct. So just to quickly share, this is exactly what's in my space, just to be super transparent. So everything here is relevant to my sales and business development team. It includes, we have these structured data files through CSVs that comes from our CRM. Again, everything's fictitious, our customer complaints. And then we also have that unstructured data aspect that we touched on earlier, which is Word documentation. So this is a sales incentive strategy doc. We have meeting recordings. So this is a video recording with a fictitious partner meeting. We also have, if you go along here, our QuickSight dashboard that we looked at earlier. And then we also have an audio recording from a meeting and a PowerPoint, which is going to be our selling point for our first call deck. So this is everything that's powering my agents, and you can use this space across different applications within your QuickSight environment.
Excellent, thanks.
All right, and so if I come back here to the configuration, again, I have that knowledge source that I've added through my space, but I also have what I think is very powerful is the integrations with our connections through third-party applications. So for this team, I've added 3. I've added the Microsoft Outlook application, a Teams integration, as well as Asana. So this team uses Asana to build out customer ticket workflows, and they use Teams to communicate with each other, as well as different partners, and then Outlook as their email communication preferred format. So now with this, I can see that I have all the makings to create a new agent. And what I can do here is ask it questions. So let's see if this works. But we have our environment working, but I'm going to go ahead and ask maybe a question that other salespeople may be able to relate to. So here I can see that I'm now with my any retail snacks or any retail sales helper. And what I can do here, it says, I have a friendly message. Welcome to any retail sales helper. I'm here to help you find insights, navigate our sales docs, and create great communication materials. So I'm going to create this example use case here of maybe how I would use this in my day-to-day. But let's say I'm entering a customer meeting or a partner meeting, and I want to know how we can position one of our snacks to be the front runner inside of a grocery store. So let's pick one. I mentioned the 5 earlier, but let's just pick real fuel bars. So I'm going to say something like, how can I encourage our grocery partners to position real fuel bars at the front of their store in order to maximize sales in Q4. And so let's just go ahead and submit that and see what our agent can come up with. So it's going to be working on that question. And I'm seeing that it's also giving an error, but usually it would pull up your documentation from your space. So that would include the unstructured files that are relative to this question. And that has to do with our grocery store meetings that we've hosted and the sales incentive strategy documentation. It also can include things from my dashboard. So what I was looking for is it to pull out our QuickSight data that's relevant to our real fuel bar snack sales. And then it would create a nice summary and an outline for me to enter a meeting with these sales partner or with these grocery store partners and how we can position this product. So unfortunately, it's throwing this error, but that is what you would normally see. And the demo guide's not on my side today, but that is okay.
But I was going to say, I see this very impactful to all customers, just everybody, they have some kind of product, some kind of service, and being able to understand what really would make a difference when positioning their product or their service is just aiding either tenured salespeople, or in this case, we're targeting more somebody that's new and how they're able to navigate that. And another piece also that you mentioned is that you can continue to add additional information to that space as, say, new products come up or new services are provided, or even new strategies of sales come up, which we can incorporate that. So it continues to evolve. And if in the future you were able to ask that question again, then it would take into account that new data that was entered into the space.
Right, exactly. And so the space is very powerful. Again, like I mentioned, you can use this across agents. So not only chat agents, but if I want to go back here, you can also use this in the context of a flow, which will automate everyday tasks for you. And we can see how we can use this in our research, which is what I'm going to explore now. So this is personally my favorite agent. So if you want to think about what Quick Research does, is it takes a problem that you have, and this is usually a very complex business problem, and you'll be able to use your space and the prompt that you use, again, in just natural language. And the agent will go off and research things based on all the information inside of your space, inside of your dashboard, if you'd like. And it'll take the web search and use that to bring in context from outside sources into your own application. So this is extremely powerful. This can take days, weeks, even months for some teams to do on their own when they have to go through the process of finding information, analyzing information, and then synthesizing it into something that's producible for a final product. And so what this research does is just decreases the time and allows you to stay in the loop on everything that's happening by cross-checking the information of what's going on here. So we'll see what that looks like now. And what I've asked here is if I want to create a new research, I've used this use case, which I'll explain now, and I'll go ahead and type this in. So we're still inside any retail snacks company, but now we're inside the product and research development team. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this here for you all to read. But what this is doing, if I'm a product and research developer, I'm trying to create a new product for our company to sell. So we have that existing 5, but how can we create something new that is aligned with the vision and the mission of our existing products, has the same quality, healthy ingredients, but is going to target a new audience. So our audience for this is going to be our student demographic. So we want to research recent health trends for kids that aligns with our mission and ingredient quality so that we can bring new back to school snacks for the school year. So that's something that the team is looking to include. And then if that does well, maybe they'll have that product line existing throughout the school year or throughout the year.
And I know traditionally, like you mentioned, this would require a number of researchers or people going, reading documents from within the company to understand what, for example, healthy means within the company, what different demographic mean within the company, and also externally. I think that the part that is also super powerful is that that ability to explore external content through the web. I know myself, before having agents, I would have a million tabs trying to find through different browsers, reading documentation, research papers. But you're saying now with this capability, there's an agent that it's consuming that information and making insights of it. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Right, exactly. And as you can see here, this you can toggle on and off, which is that web search that you were just talking about. And I think that can be extremely relatable for everybody in different use cases in their companies, is you have to go through several resources, making sure that the information that you're putting in is factual and correct, and combining that with your own company's context of data. So that's something that's really awesome about Quick Research, is it's doing that all for you. And again, I really want to emphasize this point, is that this allows you to stay in the loop on what's happening and making sure you're cross-checking the information inside the summary it gives you to see what you can edit and what you want to keep in your final product. So as you can see here, I've put in the prompt. I have automatically the web search toggled on, so I'm going to keep it that way. We want to see what is pulling from other sources. I could pull in other file uploads that I want to have from my desktop. So say I already had some preliminary research done from my team, or other information related to this problem that I wanted to upload. And then I also can add my QuickSight assets. So I can add here my space, which I'll do now. And I'm also going to add my dashboard. All right, and so now I'm going to go ahead and press Create Plan. And this will take a bit of time, but what's happening now is the agent is going to create a very comprehensive research plan of everything that I've mentioned in my prompt, pulling through all of my data and web search results that it's seen that's relative to the problem I'm trying to solve, and put it into a very nicely formatted plan. So we'll see that here. And you can see it's created this one here, but I'm going to show you one that I've already built out. Again, this is with the same prompt, which you can see here, that I put in earlier. And I've done nothing on my own, but this is what it's generated. So I see that it's generated this title of the plan. It's called Healthy Back to School Snack Trends, a market analysis for kid-focused product expansion. That seems like it's in the realm of what I asked. And then it's given me this executive summary of what it's going to talk about in the plan. And as we can see here, there's going to be various topics. So the topics vary from North American kids snack market analysis, what our current product performance is in the area, some nutritional guideline trends. It includes functional ingredients for cognitive development and vegetable delivery. So maybe that's a hint of what product it wants us to create. And then at the end, it's giving us a product concept, which seems like it's exactly what I've been looking for. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper, we can go into the actual plan here, and I can see that it's a very lengthy research document. So again, this is everything that QuickSight generated on its own, and it has tons of data and information. If you saw, I just quickly scrolled by, but it has even pulled in its own charts that it's made. It's pulled in this numbered list, bulleted list of inspiration for snacks. Again, another chart. And we
And
also
and
saw that it
Madison, like you said, all of this, even though it took, you mentioned a few minutes, I think minutes compressed into months of research, because as you're saying, this is data that not only was research, but then there's only even a graph too, that executive summary. If you want to go into a meeting, this is a great content as well. Once you're trying to brainstorm with your teams, of having at Amazon, we have usually 1 or 2 pagers. We are strong believers on synthesizing the data that you want to share or the idea, and having that be the pivot in terms of how conversations go within a meeting. But I see this extremely powerful for that as well.
Right, and we'll show that a little bit later, and that is a really great point, because this is a very lengthy document, and a lot of times you just want it synthesized to be something short, like a 1 to 2 pager. But what's really helpful about this is this compressed all of that time, like you mentioned, of having to go research, create your findings, create your own documentation, and the agent within Amazon Quick Research has done that for you. So again, emphasizing the point that you should be able to find your information here and then be able to create your own actions and edit your own points. What I've done here is create comments. So if I wanted to highlight any part of my research that I wanted to change or make edits, all I would have to do is highlight this one area. So say this random sentence I've chosen and add a comment. And then once I add a comment, so I've done one here, it will go ahead and regenerate my summary by making those changes. So as you can see, this is version 3. I've had 2 previous versions, which I've commented and created my own revisions and edits, and then it's produced this current version 3. And so that is really helpful if you have just quick things that you want to change before you can condense this all to a 1 to 2 pager. And then another really cool feature about this is this sparkly lined icon here called Understand the Statement. So if I click this, it brings me to this pane here, which helps me understand the context of this information. This is extremely powerful as well because, again, I want to be kept in the loop on everything this agent is producing and making sure that it's factually correct. So if I have any of that I want to understand, I can click on that and be brought to the context, which pulls the exact quote based on the paper. It gives the context of what this evidence suggests within the context of my whole plan and my problem. It also gives me the breakdown of the conclusion that it's creating. So it gives me the original source here, what the quote was from the original source, and what the summary of the meaning is. So it's saying that this data reveals a significant nutritional gap among North American children, with vast majority not consuming adequate fruits and vegetables. This deficiency creates a clear market need for products that can help children meet recommended dietary guidelines. And so this
Excellent.
is just really, really helpful if you want to understand more about your data and maybe come up with your own insights based on this of what you can add into your existing plan. So I just think that this is a really cool capability.
Yeah, to dive in deeper and have that sense of where the data came from and why it's suggesting that. I'm curious from the audience if there's anything specifically from what we're sharing that you're curious or that you want us to dive deeper into. Please leverage the chat to let us know what you want to see or where we can double click. I do have a question. You mentioned the different versions. So sounds like then this is something that you can share and collaborate with other teammates on how to build it.
Yes, exactly. So if I wanted to, I can go ahead and just share this plan straight from here with my teams. And I can share it with people who have access to my QuickSight environment. So again, that's going to be my team members. I can also download this plan as a PDF or Word document. So if I wanted to share it elsewhere externally, I could do that there and then create my own edits in those applications as well.
Excellent. We do have a question, and I know this might go in terms of the configuration, and I'll pop it up. And I know when we're talking about agents, when we're talking about generative AI, also we have to talk about hallucination and how to manage that on our end. I know part of it as well has to do with the type of information that you allow it to have access to, as well as the models and how they operate.
Yes. So when you're doing anything with AI agents, we always want to keep humans in the loop. So that is the core here is everything's trained on your data, but we should keep each other in the context of what our agents are building. We don't want to just send this out without ever reviewing it and see, okay, this is good to go as is, which is why we have that mechanism incorporated here where we have the parts of understanding the statement where you can leave comments. And you can see throughout, if we go to other features within Amazon QuickSight, that we have a feedback option. So like we saw when I had that chat error, what I could have done is go into, let's see if I can pull it up here actually.
And while you do that, thank you very much for the question. Keep them coming. I know we have about maybe 12 extra minutes with you, so now is your time to ask additional questions. I see that you're pulling up the new screen.
Yes, let's see. If I had that chat agent, we can go to my history because we'll see an error. But I can pull up this thing what we have feedback. So you can leave feedback to your administrators and your authors and your QuickSight account and be able to say that it's a thumbs down or thumbs up based on the answer. So this might not load because it wasn't working earlier, but we do have different mechanisms inside the product where you can say, this isn't what I was looking for. Let's make sure that we can fine tune this. So again, we're keeping the human in the loop here of you're having your data, but we don't want it to be hallucinated. And we want to make sure that we're always iterating so that's more factual and correct.
Excellent. Okay, so we were reviewing at the moment this more robust, lengthy, and in detailed research that was done, and I think you wanted to show us a couple of other items as well within this.
Yes. So something that's very powerful, like you said earlier, is that 1 to 2 pager document. This obviously is not that. This is very long. So what we have here is a capability called summarize. So if I wanted to, I could take this plan that it's already generated and create something more concise and friendly if I want to send this outwards. So let's take your example of a 1 to 2 pager summary and let's create an executive summary. So here I'm going to go ahead and we have these 2 preset summary styles that are already given to you. It's a general share out or an executive summary. I'm going to choose an executive summary and I'm going to press begin. This is going to generate this summary for me. I also have the option to create my own summary. So I could prompt something on my own and create like a general format style. So here you can see that it could create a 4-page summary emphasizing financial impacts and recommendations. But here it goes, pretty instantaneously. It's generating that 1 to 2 pager executive summary for me. And we can see that it has generally the same title that is given in the plan. And it's condensing and synthesizing all that information and data into something more friendly that I could share with an executive.
And this, I know I've had to write a lot of executive summaries. It would take me hours just to try to get the format correctly. I know for executives, time is of an essence, and making sure that it's succinct to the point that every word counts. So this is extremely powerful to have those conversations once the product goes through iteration and making sure that the executives also have access to that information.
Right, exactly. And so as this is loading up, let's again, hopefully this works. But as this is loading up, I'll just say that something I love about the executive summary is again that the ability to share within your teammates and outwards. So we saw that earlier in the research plan, but I was able to download it as a PDF and Word documentation to make my own edits, or I could have just shared it with my team. So it really just helps reiterate that concept of keeping your whole teammates in the loop on what you've been doing with these agents that are helping you with your workflows and being able to continue that conversation of having interactive feedback with them as well.
Excellent.
Okay. So I see here that it threw me an error again about the demo. But
No,
let me,
we're working through it live, so
yes.
I'm glad that at least we were able to show one of the many agents, because we didn't get to. We did the custom agents, we did the research agents, and there's still a lot that we could have covered. But I know that we also wanted to provide some context for our audience, given that we weren't able to cover everything, on what are
Yes.
maybe other formats in which they can continue to learn, or any additional items that we wanted to cover on that end.
Yeah, so I know we didn't get to see the results of those, but an area where you can find all of those results is going to be our QuickSuite community. So I know we have a link with the live stream that we're hosting here, so if you want to throw that up, but this is our QuickSuite community. This is going to be the place to learn about our product, to find people and get your questions answered through our Q&A. It is also going to be where you can find both of our virtual and in-person events about the product and meet with customers through user groups. It's an amazing place. So as you can see here, we have each of the capabilities where, if you wanted to, could see a more complete demo of how this worked from end to end. And then you'll see a similar use case that we just saw today, and you'll see how it produced that executive summary. And we have that for each of the capabilities. So for ones that we didn't cover, we have our quick flows one, spaces, connections, as well as automate. And then something that I want to highlight is I host a weekly webinar for our product, and it is called the Amazon Quick Suite Learning Series. So you'll find that in our events. I also think we have a link that we want to throw up here. So thank you about that. And this is going to be deep dives and demos on specific capabilities within our product. So our October ones are already out. We're hosting one tomorrow. This is going to be a new feature inside Amazon QuickSight. Very exciting. And then the following weeks throughout the rest of the year are going to be deep dives within the product on specific AI agents. So if you're interested, it's totally free to register and join. I highly recommend. You'll get connected with our experts and just learn all about our Amazon QuickSuite account and product.
And for those that maybe are listening, because sometimes we convert this into also podcasts, to access the community, that's at community.amazonquicksite.com. I know you mentioned this might be rebranded to QuickSuite. And for those that were part of the QuickSuite community, QuickSight community, now that became the QuickSuite community. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So if you were an existing QuickSight customer, everything is still accessible inside of our QuickSuite community. It's just going to be inside of our QuickSight capabilities tab. So we already have all of the question and answers still in there for QuickSight, as well as the additional QuickSuite capability ones as well. And they're all going to be accessible through here.
And I know through the community, you cover the events. You also cover the new features. If maybe we can pop them up, but again on the view, the new features and how you can dive deeper into it. An additional item that a lot of my customers have used is what you mentioned, the Q&A. So a lot of users might have questions on how to achieve specific activities, or how to leverage the service itself. And Q&A is super powerful. Behind the scene, there's QuickSight and QuickSuite experts that will be answering, and the community itself will bring forward those answers. Madison, you're showing as an example right now some of the newest questions that users are having. So I think it's just another space to connect with so many others that are leveraging the service, get ideas. I myself sometimes look at the questions and get inspired by new things I can add to my dashboards, and now within agents as well. Anything else that you wanted to highlight on the community and how people can continue to learn after today's session?
I think you just hit a really important point right there. Is the Q&A is an amazing feature. Something that's great about our community of users is they go in here and answer questions on their own. This includes not only experts within AWS, but our subject matter experts that come from both external and internal resources and our customers. So our top leaderboards of community members will be in here daily answering questions because they're just so passionate about the product. So I feel like that's very powerful, and it connects people. We've had users meet up from other countries with each other. They've connected at reInvent, they connect at different user groups. And so if you're truly wanting to get used to the product or want to meet others in the community, this is the best place to join. It's truly, truly amazing. And so far, we have over 20,000 users in here. So it's really awesome.
Exciting. Okay, with that, I know that we're almost to the end of the session. I don't know, Madison, if you had any final remarks. You shared from your career how to get people inspired into leveraging their different backgrounds that might not be at first technology driven, and now they could be, into giving us a demo with what we could in terms of agents and QuickSight and the launch of QuickSight and the new capabilities with Agentic AI powered and solutions. Anything else we might have not covered that maybe we wanted to highlight?
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I know the demo wasn't as planned, just with the technical difficulties, but I think this is an amazing program. More of the things like this, empowering women to get out there and try new things and be able to put themselves in maybe an untraditional position that was mostly male dominated. I think that's awesome. That's something I really advocate for. And I just think if you are someone who maybe isn't as technical and wanting to either get into more technical role or just break into tech as a whole, I think don't let anything stop you. Just continue to stay curious and keep on learning. It has been a very important part of my journey is to just be able to not be scared by things that I maybe don't understand, but dive really deep into those things and just learn as much as I could. So if you can be able to just absorb and be a sponge and get in there, ask questions to people who are maybe already familiar, already in the area that you're looking to go into, I think it's extremely powerful, and you'll find people are willing to help. So don't get discouraged. But I think that that's kind of the main point of what I've learned throughout my journey here is people are willing to help, and you shouldn't let things stop you if you think that you're not necessarily like qualified based on what you've previously done. If you have the tenacity to go for it, you should.
Excellent. What a powerful message to close with today. I wanted to thank everybody that participated today and watched the session. And thank you again, Madison, for sharing your wealth of knowledge. Hopefully we'll get to see a lot of you joining the community, asking questions because you're building your new agents, leveraging Amazon QuickSight. And we'll see you on the next episode of AWS She Builds Tech Skills. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming.